Hello everybody and welcome back once again to Suzerain with our greedy, power-hungry Mr. Rayne. Of course, it's the second playthrough on the channel. Right, so just a quick look at the briefings. Off camera, nothing really of major note other than there's a fire at the Wholesale State University. And this was quite interesting. 55% of the population like the reformists' ideas. Really? Well, you're going to get a nasty shock, aren't you? 55% of the people. Because we don't like them. As in the reformist ideas, of course. Newspapers, fire strikes the Wholesale State University archive. Suspiciously only damaging certain things. I think it was the records office, the records section, the administration building. 8 hours it burnt for. Academic works were lost. Employee records too. Committee for the reform has been formed. The USP wants to appeal to the people of Swordland to help in maintaining stability and order in the state. Yeah, good luck with that. Okay, Alfonso abandons the Lothar Group conclave. More of the news about Alfonso kind of distancing himself from this Lotharberg group. Of course, Walter Tusk is the spokesperson for that group. More about him in the future. The Swordish National League starts. FC Gelsord, last season's champions, return with experienced veterans and star striker Hakon Brenner, who holds the top scorer title since 1952. Enrique have added 7 new players, but they're going to have their work cut out to dislodge Gelsord. But we'll see as the season progresses. Support the Assembly grows for the campaign finance bill. Again, more about this bill. It'll be presented to us shortly. The Izam incident. An incident that was several years ago. More about that in the future of the playthrough. Again, I'm trying to cater to people that have seen this game really, but if you haven't, hopefully you'll still get the gist of things. But the Izam incident will rear its ugly head in the future, so we'll get into that more down the line. But apparently there's some information that this incident was not an act of foreign aggression, but a government conspiracy to gain influence. No way. Rumberg coming south? We'll see. Amnesia. Resia firmly refutes Pale's retort in Aureus Gasfield's dispute. There is a dispute between Kingdom of Resia and the Grand Duchy of Pales regarding a recently discovered gas field, I believe. Energy companies across Macopa expressed growing concerns about operational disruptions and potential impacts on the region's energy supply. Could be interesting. Could play a factor. We'll see. Right, so there were your news articles, they were your briefings. Our next meeting of many is the media strategy meeting. We're back again with Lucian and Peter. Lucian put on his reading glasses and quickly went over some documents. Peter turned to Lucian and nodded. Greetings, gentlemen. I have just received further information from the interior about the sudden fire that broke out at the Wholesale State University archives nearby. We're not really that interested, but we'll entertain him for a little bit. Tell me more about this fire. The initial reports from the Wholesale Police Chief indicate a potential arson case. In accordance with protocol, the Swordish Intelligence Directorate has been called. Is the SID really necessary for this? Why would anyone hit the archives of a university in the first place? I see no logical motive there. Seems like the chief suspect's foreign sabotage. They informed us that a large section of the archive has been destroyed. It included tens of thousands of globally recognised research documents in original by the great thinkers of our people. Back to Peter's point. If this was arson, what could the motive have been? The fact that the employee records have been destroyed along with the research documents raises further questions. Luckily, most originals have copies in other universities and some international libraries. The first edition of my favourite book, The Geopolitics of Swordland by Herman Equa, was destroyed too. Maybe it was just a freak accident. We do have copies of most important works, so no single fire can eradicate our knowledge. I see no point in destroying employee records either. More importantly, Lucien mentioned that Marcel Caronti contacted him. The Carontis had always been known as one of the richest and most influential families in Swordland. Marcel Caronti was no exception. He was the oldest son of Conrad Caronti, the industrialist and media mogul who founded the HOS, the Heartland of Swordland conglomerate. The richest man in the entirety of Swordland. Lucien turned to me. He has offered to meet with you, Mr. President. And what does he want? After the passing of his father, may he rest in peace, Marcel aims to become the next CEO of the HOS conglomerate. He mentioned a productive collaboration. They are a powerful and influential media conglomerate. To start with, they own the Swordland Today newspaper, the Swordish Broadcasting Corporation, which means it would be wise to have them by our side. Sorry for interrupting. And what does this productive collaboration entail? He did not wish to explain the details over the phone, but rather in person. I believe I will be receiving a call from him sometime soon. However, as Peter said, they have substantial power over the content of media outlets, headlines, radio shows. That is what he would be offering. What he wants in return is what we need to understand. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, we need to determine our general approach to media. I'm no media expert, but Lucien made some very interesting arguments at the preparation meeting yesterday. There are two ways we can approach the media. One of them is by influencing it, which has clear advantages. The other one is keeping it independent. The media is a tool to be used. I agree. Media plays a huge role in adapting public opinion towards our views and policies, which will help us avoid damage from scandals or mistakes. While I do acknowledge that this will sound a bit harsh, I certainly believe that our perspective, knowledge and experience allows us to have superior judgment compared to the average Swordish citizen. I share your opinion, Lucien. I concur. Even if we don't use it, we should be able to have control over it. You both are aware of my certain expertise with public opinion swaying. I will make sure the media is on our side. 2 knocks were heard at the door. Who is it? It's Livia, Mr. President. Livia Suno, my new secretary, entered the office. Her dark curls bounced as she crossed the room to my desk. She spoke with a slight lilt in her voice. Excuse me, Mr. President. Mr. Gallard's secretary has been calling me and wanted me to relay a message. Marcel Caronti, the new CEO for HOS Conglomerate, is on the line for Mr. Gallard. Well, the ball is in our court now. Would you like to talk to him, sir, or would you like me to? You go ahead, Lucien. Connect the line to my office. Right away, sir. Connecting the call to line 1. Livia left the room and the phone started ringing. Lucien picked it up. A few minutes passed as the two talked over the phone. Good news indeed. Congratulations, Mr. Caronti. Thank you for contacting me about this. We will talk later. Lucien put the phone down. What was so important that it couldn't wait? He was just elected CEO by the board of directors. He offered a partnership deal regarding his media branch. He is inviting us to his resort near Conriat for a meeting. The board has decided rather quickly. It seems that gave him the confidence to approach us again. He is going to offer a real deal, and now has the power of the conglomerate too. The choice is up to you, Mr. President. I can set up the meeting soon. Yes, arrange the meeting with Mr. Caronte, please. I'll set things up right away. Expect a worthwhile meeting next month. Settled then. Looking forward to next month. I wonder if he has a pool. Lucian looked at his watch. It appears we're done for today. We will continue where we left off later. Thank you for your time. See you soon, gentlemen. Lucian and Peter gathered their documents and promptly left my office. We were already getting the attention of key figures, and potentially dangerous ones. Right. Okay. Where are we? Leshaven. Investing in mega infrastructure project. Well, we know enough about economy to understand that this would be a good long-term investment to help boost the economy, so we will indeed invest in this mega infrastructure project. We're going to be we're going to be very spend-happy if necessary. If we like the sound of it, we're buying it. Who cares about budgets? It's going to be our mantra. So let's see how well that works out for us. Right, anyway, also, tourism potential in Reebury. It's got untapped tourism potential and natural beauty. However, it lacks infrastructure. In Valgan, a declining energy output at Valgan Dam. This is all rather interesting, because if we're relying on ourselves to run our own energy, or output, energy outputs without foreign investment, our own dams failing on us is not a good. Excuse me. Oop, sneezes. Not a good sign. What we got? Republic of Kairoot expresses approval of Swordish democracy. Democracy, you say? Let's see how that fares in a few months' time. Right. Okay. Diplomacy. Fluctuating energy prices. Right, more paper news. Conrath Caronte passed away. We heard it first from Lucian. Conrath has died, Marcel has took over and has assumed role as CEO of the HOS instantaneously. Smooth transition? Perhaps. More about the fire. Mr. Herman Eckwer was also mentioned by Lucian. Our great quests of knowledge should have been better protected. What, against arson? Somebody's determined to burn your library down. What can you do about it, really? Right, okay. Suspicious fire. That's a keyword, suspicious. Gas on hires freeze. Amid economic strains. That's not good news at all. It's a blow to the Swordish workforce. Glamorous inaugural ball. Of course, we are the new president. As is customary, an inaugural ball, lavish state ball, will be held. They want these traditions of wastefulness to be a thing of the past. Whilst I'm in power, there'll be more balls, not less. Thanks very much. We've got an ideological dispute between Garmland and Valsland. Various differences in opinions. Valslanding, socialism, millennialism, and all that jazz. Swordland's regional trade. They question what will the regional trade international policy be? Isn't that the question? Lesbia, Agnolia, Valsland, Wayland, who's gonna get trade with us? Who knows how we're gonna go? Depends how we feel on the day. But concessions? I don't think our President Rayne does many of concessions. So if we're asked to concede anything, could be a no-go. Right, here you go. The Swordish Swordish Intelligence Directorate, I think it was, has joined the investigation about this fire. See what they unearth. And the party committee report. Potential change to the Constitution that will result in the expansion of the executive powers will likely result in strong opposition from the Pifjib. So basically it's saying that if we continue down our line to bolster our own strength, the People's Freedom and Justice Party, henceforth known as Pifjib, as it was in the first playthrough, will be strongly opposed. Kasaro Kibana might be interested. Which is exactly what we want. The members of Assembly in support of such direction currently seem low, but possibly make up a huge majority in the Grand National Assembly, if the Conservative support can be taken. So we need to cater to the Conservatives to get this through. Complete opposite of the last playthrough, but this is the purpose of this one. Yeah, I mean, we're not an absolute lunatic. We do want to hold our power for as long as possible, so if we have to do a little bit of pandering and concede a touch or two on little things that aren't overly detrimental to our end goal, then we will try to do that. We don't want to be booted out of office too swiftly. But yeah, interesting change from the first playthrough of this one. So yeah, we are needing the full support of the NFP and the Conservatives this time around. Oh, who would have thought? Right, campaign finance bill, the first bill that comes across our desk. So this, again, I don't recall understanding this properly the first time, but the electoral campaign finance bill. So this is basically looking at how public funds are allocated to political parties when it comes to election campaigning. So the previous system was based on the number of votes won in the election, whereas this is based on the proportion of seats. So we have a 10% threshold, election threshold, which means that any parties that get less than 10% of the election proportion do not enter the assembly. So with this change of campaign budgeting, rather than being proportional, which means that parties that didn't get into the assembly still would get some money for campaigning, basing it on proportion of seats means that parties that don't pass the 10% threshold get no campaign funding. And the more seats that you've got in the assembly, you get a larger portion of the campaign funding. So technically speaking, by signing this bill, with the election or the assembly makeup at the moment, means that we get a larger chunk. Those that are not in the assembly get nothing. So that's the basis of the switch. So as it says here, a consequential effect of these amendments will effectively lead to a substantial increase in the budget for us and a minor augmentation for other parties. But basically, look at that, yeah. Parties that do not meet the 10% threshold will see their public funding effectively curtailed. Oh dear. It's passed the assembly. So, I'm the president of the assembly. The assembly's passed it. I can't really veto it, can I? It's the will of the assembly. I'm just agreeing. I mean, it might help that the assembly is mainly made of USP members at the moment, but hey, unfair electoral funding? What do you mean? The recent electoral funding bill passed by the government has resulted in a significant change in the way political parties are funded. Under the new law, public election funding is only provided to parties that have secured seats in the Assembly. This has resulted in a reduction of funding for parties that didn't enter the Assembly. In contrast, the funding for the USP, the party in power, has doubled. Handy. Electoral funding reform. Friends Richter, who objected to the funding package saying it contained too much unfairness, couldn't delay the proceedings. Oh dear, sorry about that, Mr. Richter, so sorry. And of course the radical USP hijacks elections. Yes, this insane law. As Anton Rayne's presidency begins, we at the Radical are already smelling the rot. There's going to be a lot more rot to smell before I'm finished, Radical. You're going to have a field day with my term, I can quite assure you. Smell the rot all you want. Get used to it. Right, Leshaven, it's time for us to discuss the potential infrastructure project that we've just signed off. And here we are in our hometown. The view towards a Markian sea from Leshaven was nothing short of exquisite. The seaside state residence, fittingly named the Blue Mansion, was large, fine and accommodating. But enjoying the luxurious mansion wasn't the main reason of our visit. We gathered the economic team here to discuss the new infrastructure investment project. Half an hour had already passed since the start of the meeting. Unfortunately, I did not even have the chance to have my usual afternoon coffee. Looking at the view from the windows, I let my mind drift for a couple of seconds. Simon's voice brought me back into the ongoing discussion. Mr. President, we need to focus on boosting the economy as quickly as possible. One of the fastest ways to achieve this is through infrastructure projects. Yeah, we nod. We can't even be bothered to talk right now. We haven't had our coffee. I'm aware, Simon. I am aware. On the one hand, businessmen are complaining about the slow logistical rail network between Hallsword and Leshaven. Lydia started talking as soon as Simon took a breath. On the other hand, citizens are criticising the lack of a proper highway connection between Leshaven and Arvery. The narrow roads by the seaside are not only dangerous, but also difficult to traverse. I hate to be blunt, but we need to pick the most profitable option for economic growth, do we not? Which is obviously connecting our two most economically powerful cities. It is not business people who are suffering now, but ordinary folk. What really matters is that your first economic act accomplishes something tangible. Yes, well, I agree, Simon. We must indeed prove our capabilities. The people must know that this administration can get things done. To that point, I defined two important projects for your attention. The H3 Highway Project and the L1 High-Speed Railway Project. Mr. Hall repositioned himself on his chair. The Ministry can only support one project at a time with our current capacity and budget. Let's move on to the details of each. So which one do you want to hear about first? Tell me about the high-speed rail project. Your predecessor, Alfonso, failed to deliver on this campaign promise, but now we have the opportunity to start the construction of a groundbreaking railway project. As you know, our current trains cannot meet the standards of today. As many other countries adopt new electric engine technology to power up their trains, we're falling behind. News about the new electric trains in United Contana has piqued our business's interest. They, too, want to transport resources and material from Hallsword to Leshaven with great speed and efficiency. Yes, agreed. The superpowers are indeed leading their way with high-quality technology, and they are superpowers for a reason, I suppose. We certainly have to keep up. Only technological advancement will give us an edge in the international arena. Our plan is to upgrade the old L1 line from Hallsword to Leshaven. It will transform into a high-speed railway. Gus was pointing at Hallsword while Simon was looking attentively. The planned construction starts right here at the capital. From here, it will go to Amrika first, and then it will connect to Gelsord, after which it will reach Leshaven, our economic powerhouse. He leaned forward. The L1 will significantly boost the economies of the newly linked cities and even the rural areas in between. Leshaven is our primary port, so the goods unloaded there will be transported to Hallsword much faster. Yes, I believe this would benefit Swordish businesses and indeed Swordland as a whole. for the wealthy and middle-class citizens of these regions, but not for the poor dears who wouldn't be able to afford the increased ticket prices. The Mayor of Anrika, Curtin Lest, also requested this project to be prioritised. Businessmen in the region will be very content, which in turn will increase investments and employment. Therefore, I will recommend the L1 high-speed rail project. So Gus is behind it. Simon, our economics minister, is behind it. We have a little bit of economic background ourselves, so we probably are on a same par with Simon. But of course, coming from Leshaven, being a bit biased towards, having that line connect from Halsord to Leshaven, and the fact that Lily as well, she's already going to be always punting for Aglan because we know she's the mayor of over there. This is a no-brainer for our Mr. Rayne here. He doesn't even need to hear about the poxy highway project. I've settled on a decision. Excellent. What will your final choice be, Mr. President? Simon asking, as if it's a surprise, considering we haven't even asked about the highway project. I've decided on the L1 high-speed rail project to improve the connection between our most productive cities. The right choice, Mr. President. The negotiations will begin in the middle of this year, and you will be able to award the contract to a corporation of your choice. The Ministry estimates that construction will be completed in 2 years if every step going forward is executed successfully. Good. Now, if you don't mind, coffee's calling. Is there anything else? This should be all, Mr. President. See you soon, Mr. Rayne. Have a nice day, Mr. President. Evening settled on the beautiful coastline of Leshaven. I sit back, put my feet up on my desk, cigar in mouth, sipping on my coffee. Okay. Investment in Arcasian company stocks. A personal investment opportunity has been relayed by our astute Mr. Manger. An experienced stockbroker in Ventry City, Arcasia, is selling valuable shares of Armadine Industries, an up-and-coming electronics manufacturing company. We could invest, or let the opportunity pass. Mr. Major has assured us that this is a win-win situation. We saw in the news that they were going onto the market with the very first electronics radio. I think we need to buy as many shares as we possibly can. No guts, no glory, right? Okay, and now it is time for party time. We are the Presidente. You have to celebrate with our inaugural ball. The reception, the glamour, the partying, the drinking, rubbing shoulders and swaying people to our cause. Oh, it's all going to happen here tonight, folks. Let's get this show very much on the road. I just finished buttoning up my suit jacket when the doorbell rang. The Presidential Guard had arrived to pick us up for the inaugural ball. The ball was a 3-decade-old tradition, breathlessly anticipated by politicians, bureaucrats and the press. All eyes were about to be on me. I called on Monica to get the children ready. Looking in the mirror, I straightened my tie and took a deep breath. After tonight, there would be no turning back. Suddenly Dina hugged me from behind, startling me a little. Monica had fixed her hair into an elaborate braid woven through with ribbons. "Papa! Mama told me it's time to go." "Ah. Hello, darling. I'm ready. Where's your brother?" "I think Frankie's upstairs." She shrugged. It was almost time to leave. The big ball was starting in less than an hour. "Now, where's my first lady?" Monica came down the stairs. She was wearing a simple yet elegant beige cease dress and short heels. Her hair had been neatly pinned into a chignon, showing off the pearl earrings I had given her for our 15th anniversary. All those years, she had stayed by my side. Now we were about to begin the most challenging chapter in our lives yet. How do you do, Mr. President? She extended a gloved hand, and I raised it to my lips. Monica, my dear, you look as gorgeous as the day we married. He's a suave guy, our president. He knows how to chat up his ladies. Now there's the charm that got you elected. Frank trudged down the stairs. This thing itches. Frank tugged at the collar of his new tuxedo. He seemed ill at ease. Are you good to go? Yes. The sooner we go, the sooner it'll be over, right? Papa, are these people going to be around us from now on? She pointed at the presidential guards at the door of the house. Yes. Swordland's most important family needs extra protection. It's all right, baby. They're here to make sure nothing bad happens to your papa or his family. Monica held Dina's hand. Together, flanked by the guards, we walked out the door. Halfway to the car, Frank stopped abruptly and turned towards me. Dad, do I really have to go? Couldn't I stay home instead? Look, son, listen to me. You're gonna love it. I'm sure there's gonna be plenty of pretty girls to dance with. If there's even time in between all the boring speeches. But I guess I have no choice. Got that over with, Frank? Let's go. The car is waiting for us. Presidential guard showed us the way as red and blue lights flashed around us. Sergei, my driver, ushered us into our armoured limousine. The motorcade started moving towards the palace. I gazed out the window deep in thought. Anton, what are you thinking about? Just thinking that we've come a long way together, haven't we? Yes, we have. And there's still so much we can accomplish, side by side. Just remember, no matter what happens, the children and I will always be here for you. I'm going to help Papa fix everything. Frank rolled his eyes. I know you will, honey. We'll see, darling, we'll see. After what seemed like just a few minutes, the convoy slowed to a halt. Sergei rolled down the limousine's soundproof partition. We are here, sir. Hope you enjoyed the drive. We simply nodded. Sergei opened the door for me. The normally imposing palace was festooned with garish banners that nearly made it look cheerful. A line of shiny luxury sedans stretched around it. Politicians, bureaucrats and celebrities, the creme de la creme of the Swordland elite, streamed inside the building. Good luck out there, Mr. President. I'll see you on the trip home. I stepped out and immediately found myself surrounded by loud voices and camera flashes. Hordes of eager journalists thrust their portable microphones my way. My guards fended most of them off, but one woman managed to dodge them and corner me. I recognised the Swordish Broadcasting Company logo on her press lanyard. Mr. President! Mr. President! Do you plan on working together with the opposition parties on the expected constitutional reforms? My dear, this night is for celebration. I'm not going to talk about my policies now. Does that mean you don't plan on working together? Do you think you share no common ground with the other parties? No, we will do our job no matter what. One more question. One of your first acts as president was to sign a campaign finance law allocating public election funds by seats to the assembly as opposed to number of votes. Is this a deliberate attempt to defend the Communist Party and the Blue Workers' Party, neither of which have reached the election threshold? It was agreed on by the majority of the GNA. I couldn't use my veto on the first day, now could I? Now, if you don't mind, I've got things to do. That's enough, ma'am, said one of my guards while nudging the reporter away from me. A path through the crowd was now open, and we quickly made our way to the entrance of the palace. At the same time, a dozen fireworks went off. The entrance was decorated with beautiful ribbons in Swordland's colours of white, yellow and maroon. A lush maroon carpet had been rolled down the stairs. We entered the lobby and joined the throngs of people making their way towards the ballroom. Navigating the sea of guests, I found myself face to face with a towering figure. Remus Holstrom, the Iron Wall, former young sword and a stalwart of the National Front Party. He levelled a steel gaze at me, then broke into a smile. President Rayne, you have no idea how happy it makes me to see a fellow young sword in the Maroon Palace. We've come a long way from our young sword days, haven't we, Mr. Holstrom? Oh, we sure have. But I still remember them like they were yesterday. My time with the young swords taught me a lot about the true spirit of this nation. You too, I bet. Think of Swordland like a piece of iron, forged in fire, strengthened by the flame of dedication and the hammer of order. Nicely put, Mr. Holstrom. Our shared past and values will help in forging a strong Swordland. I hope so. That weakling Alfonso knew nothing about the true nature of leadership. I heard about your promise to tighten Swordland's immigration laws, by the way. I'm glad you're as concerned about preserving our nation's identity as I am. I appreciate your support, Remus. Together, we will ensure the preservation of our swordish identity. Either way, it looks like both of us have a busy term ahead of us. I've got a series of bills I'm working on to address the friction in our society. But tonight's a celebration, right? Time to show all the establishment politicians in the palace how a real patriot lets loose. Yes, let's put our politics aside for tonight. Enjoy the evening, Mr. Holstrom. We'll speak soon, and remember, never lose sight of the iron cause. As Remus Holstrom disappeared back into the crowd, his parting words resonated. A mirror to the nationalism still stirring within Swordland, he offered a potent reminder of the complexities and divisions that we would need to navigate in the days to come. Behind me, I heard a familiar voice. There they are, the most beautiful family in Swordland. Uncle Peter! Hi, Uncle Peter. It's great to see you. You two are growing faster than I am getting wiser. Are you sure you've gotten any wiser, Peter? Maybe not. After all, I'm sticking with you, aren't I? Happy to see a familiar face, Peter. Evelyn? Peter's wife Evelyn approached us and shook our hands with a firmness that belied her delicate features. Congratulations, Anton. I have to say the results were clear to me from the beginning. Appreciated, Evelyn. Means a lot. Pleasure is mine. I think it's time to celebrate this victory. Exactly, Peter. That's why we are here. But let's start by getting some drinks. You read my mind. Peter grinned and beckoned a roving waiter. The four of us each took a glass of champagne. Monica, how are you? You barely said a word. I'm more than relieved to have this roller coaster ride over with, but of course now the real work begins. Yes, managing the help, planning parties, daily trips to the salon to look after your best for foreign dignitaries. Don't be so old-fashioned. Evelyn, I plan to use my power as First Lady to advocate the position of women throughout Swordland. Equal rights for our sex are long overdue. Wouldn't you say, Anton? Yes, absolutely, yes, absolutely. We'll work together to achieve that. It's a white lie, by the way. Monica flashed me a smile. Dina suddenly jumped in between us and tugged on my sleeve. Papa, can we go? I want to see the ballroom. Oh, yes, come on. Good point, well made. Lots of celebrating to do. No point standing here gassing. Let's go. We left the lobby and made our way towards the ballroom. Inside, we were yet again surrounded by a noisy crowd, but this time it was the politicians who sought to appease the new authority in Swordland. I spent the next few hours shaking hands, joining various conversations, some serious, some superficial, and making speeches. We finally settled down at our dinner table with the Vectans as the band started playing some slow jazz tunes. Oof, that was tiring. Yes. Another drink? Well... Oh! Suddenly, a loud banging noise echoed from outside the ballroom. Then another, and another. The musicians stopped playing. Everyone in the room was looking around in confusion. Peter and I turned towards each other, realization dawning on both of our faces. But fireworks? No, gunshots! As soon as Monica heard the word, she lunged from her seat. I threw myself on Monica, Dina and Frank to shield them. Papa, what's happening? I knew it, we should never have gone! Chaos broke out as some guests flung themselves under their tables and others ran towards the doors. Screaming, Dina burst into tears while Frank tried to comfort her, hiding the fear in his own eyes. 3 more gunshots rang out loudly. Mr. President, are you all right? Carl Greaser, head of the Swordish police forces, was running towards us with 3 more police officers in decorated uniforms. They all had their guns drawn. As soon as he made it to us and saw that we were unharmed, he let out a big sigh of relief. Thank God! The hell is going on? 1 second, Mr. President. He turned around quickly to his men. Check the perimeter, now! Paul, Jensen, follow my lead. We'll bring them to the safe room. He now turned to Monica, Evelyn, and the children, and spoke in a softer voice. Do not worry, the situation is now under control. Please, follow me. We promptly followed Carl through the winding halls and corridors of the palace. His men still had their guns drawn, which did nothing to ease the tension. On the way, Peter made an attempt to break the silence. What a fucking night. It's not over yet. Carl turned to us with a serious face as we were about to round a corner. Shh, quiet please. Sorry, I just talk when I get nervous. Peter, shut up! Carl flipped a switch on the wall and a panel opened, revealing a hidden staircase leading to a large reinforced door. Inside, a set of emergency lights flickered on. The safe room was comfortable and spacious, with expensive-looking leather sofas. Small security monitors on the wall displayed grainy footage of each room in the palace. There was a boardroom and a pantry containing enough provisions to last us months. Monica and Evelyn sat the children down and started wiping their tears. Carl stepped away from us and made a few radio calls. When he was done, he returned to me and Peter. So, Carl, tell me, do I have clowns for a security force? As I raised my voice, he lowered his head in respect. No, sir. Then tell me how this circus show has happened in my ball! The room went quiet. Peter seemed like he was about to say something, but with one look from me, he stopped. I'm sorry, sir. I will personally conduct the investigation into our palace security force once we figure out what is going on. I can assure you I will be relentless in dealing with incompetence. You better, for your sake. Status update now! Dina started crying again because of me yelling. As you command, sir. Carl's radio suddenly cracked to life. Every second felt like an eternity as he pressed his ear to the receiver. When it fell silent, he turned to us. Good news. We are not in any danger at the moment. The situation has been dealt with, and the perimeter has been secured by the guards and the police. He glanced towards Monica, Evelyn and the kids. If I may, sir. He gestured towards a more private corner of the room and started speaking more quietly. This is what we know so far. We have confirmed that 2 people were gunned down in front of the palace. The attacker is one of them, and we have reasons to believe he was working alone. He fired 3 shots at an MP, 1 to the head, 2 to the body, instantly killing him. Presidential guards at the palace immediately shot and killed the attacker. He has not yet been identified, but it will require an investigation. The MP that was killed was identified as Bernard Circus. This is huge, Anton. This will cause a lot of problems. A lot of problems. Peter pulled out 2 cigarettes and handed me one. He then turned to Evelyn. I could hear him trying to reassure her that everything was going to be all right. Monica was still trying to tend to Dina and Frank. As Frank paced the room, mumbling that he should have stayed at home. I sat down beside my wife and children. Nothing like this will ever happen again. I will make sure of it. We can't be sure of anything anymore, Anton. I lit my cigarette and took a deep drag. I was going to see this through and keep my family safe. At all costs. I crushed a cigarette on the ashtray. Okay. Trouble indeed. Connections. Bernard Circus was the leader of the Independents. Now dead. Tragedy indeed. Right. Here we go. Swordland today. MP shot, nation in shock. Happening at the inauguration celebrations. The Red Youth has reported to have promised revenge. Rayne shuts down Richter. Of course, the reporter we talked to seems to have spun our words a little bit. Well, actually, has she? Because we aren't supporting Richter, so maybe she read between the lines correctly. It looks like the opposition will have a hard time during President Rayne's term. You can say that again. Security indeed has been increased after the murder of Bernard Circus. Additional entrance procedures have been revised. Investigation launched. President not happy. Giving his chief of police a royal dressing down in the safe room there. Frightening his own kids with the anger that he portrayed there. Right, emergency meeting, Maroon Palace. The mood in the Situation Room was gloomy. My cabinet members were gathered to discuss the shooting outside the palace. Lilius presented the initial report. Bernard Circus was shot dead at 9:03 in front of the palace gates. He was an elected independent member of Assembly and, as you know, a famous communist. She spat the last word out with some distaste. The guards at the scene were 50 metres away and immediately took action by responding and killing the assailant, who was identified as a member of the nationalist organisation Young Swords. The president and his family were unharmed. Praise God. So I wasn't the target? Fortunately, yes, you were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Our security forces have no reason to believe anybody has motivations to act against the President of Swordland for now. Our investigators are suspecting a political assassination since the Young Swords have been threatening the communists for some time. This may well create a dangerous atmosphere where the left versus right political violence of the 1920s could spark once again. A return to those days would be devastating. The coup are the reasons why our country stagnated for a decade. Mia Morgner, the Minister of Justice, sighed. The Red Youth has condemned the killing, but didn't stop there. they promised revenge. This will in turn spark further aggression from the young swords. The whole cycle started because Bernard Circus expressed his views. We simply cannot look away. Nee had always been one of the only members of the Justice Ministry truly deserving of the name. She had survived countless attacks on her character while fighting corruption within the ministry, and rising to power had only compounded her sense of moral duty. Freedom of expression is part of our constitution. We can't have anyone, let alone an MP, shot for voicing different opinions. Yes. We should protect freedom of speech, we say, in one breath while suppressing the media with the other. Our laws do, and for good reasons. Silencing voices only results in fear and stagnation inside society. We had that before and know very well how it was. I hear your concerns. Our police do their best to uphold the rights of our citizens. We will prevent such an act from happening again by making sure our security measures are re-evaluated. Minister of Defence, Ayosif Lansea, grunted in approval. He towered over the rest of us in full military uniform, his many war medals conspicuously on display. Agreed, ma'am. Our gendarmerie will also help boost security in the rural areas where possible. There might be more violence to come. We should refrain from making the issue a political one from the start. It will only add fuel to the fire. Yes, you are right, of course, Lucian. We do indeed need to try to defuse the situation. Our government is capable to maintain security. Our job will be to reduce tensions. Several police cars rushed past the Maroon Palace, and everyone went silent. Regardless, a full investigation into all involved parties is underway. We will find the subversives and punish them soon enough, Mr. President. I'll do my best to help coordinate the administrative tasks. Justice will be served and the rule of law will return to this country stronger than ever. Only if we stay vigilant as a country. We must think about the upcoming budget. Any threat to our power must be dealt with as soon as possible. Any direct attack against the government and our people is a serious concern, but we don't know enough to act on yet. Lucian took some notes after checking the latest newspapers and reports. It seems that the tensions between the communists and nationalists will escalate further. It will be very difficult to pass any meaningful change if there is chaos in the country. We will make it through this and deliver our promises. Hell yes, President Rayne. This will be it for today then. We will convene again soon. Thank you all and keep us updated. The meeting concluded and the ministers left the room with concerned looks. It was hard to anticipate what would happen next. Okay. Newspaper article, The Shaven Times, Murder at the Palace. Murdered. Political violence condemned. A few days later. We have 50,000 briefings to read, newspaper articles. It's all kicking off in the aftermath of the murder of Bernard Circus. We're just short of the hour mark, but this is actually the second session I've recorded in a row, so I've been going for 2 hours. My voice is breaking, as you can hear, with all the talking, so now's a good time to end. Next session, I'll give you an overview of all of the briefings, which are mainly to do with the fact that, basically, following that murder, there's a lot of civil unrest, as you can imagine. But we'll go through that in the next one, and we shall crack on with security briefing, which is quite appropriate now because we've got not just Rumberg, the external threats, but we've now got internal threats too, and we'll also, hopefully, relax after the drama with a family dinner. But that's next time. Until then, folks, though, have a good one, and I'll see you soon.